Hello, God bless, Godspeed. I'm RJ City, and you are listening to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network, and I'm going to go have a nap.
Hello and welcome to the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. I'm your host, Louis Carlin, and we're part of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. And today I have not only a very, very talented wrestler and actor, but my next guest loves to make coffee in his underwear. Please help me welcome the one and only RJ City. RJ, welcome to the show, man.
Are there people out there who don't enjoy a coffee in their underwear?
Well, let me tell you, man. You've inspired me. I actually, before we recorded about a half hour ago, I made a cup of coffee. And because of you, you've inspired me. I made it in my underwear, and I was going to go upstairs and get dressed for this interview, but I said, you know, why should I do that? So I'm actually doing this interview in my underwear right now. I hope you don't mind.
Now, my concern is that it's relatively late. I think the people should know that it is, beyond nightfall. And are you going to be okay for the rest of the evening now that you've had a cup of coffee?
Probably not. I'll probably be up till about 3, 4 in the morning. But, I only got to be at work about 5, so I get about an hour of sleep. I should be okay, man.
Or just, say to hell with it, binge watch Match Game or Family Feud, and then go to work with a smile on your face.
There you go. Or my favorite, Golden Girls, B. Arthur. I have all the episodes on DVD. I'll just plug that in and have a B. Arthur marathon because I'm very attracted to B. Arthur. She's a very, very attractive lady. So I think I'll be doing that for her.
But attractive in an unusual way, not the way that you would be attracted to other girls.
That is
It's also you admire her feminism and also respect her masculinity.
Absolutely. That's why I got my little crush on B. Arthur. But you're absolutely right there, man. So what was the inspiration for showing up on going on Facebook and saying, you know what, I think we're going to make coffee today in my underwear and show it live on Facebook, and how did you get Marty Bell to show up? That was pretty impressive as well.
Well, I like most things, I tweeted it out as a joke, and then Tommy Dreamer commented on it and said, you might as well. And I thought, yeah, you're right, I might as well. I have coffee, I have underwear, I have a webcam. What would this be? And then I was just intrigued by the experiment, and then the experiment went surprisingly well, which is unfortunate because now I feel compelled to continue to do it. And then, the next episode we had Marty Bell, who was in the neighborhood and enjoys a good brew in her underwear, as I do. So I figure, that's what I would be doing on a Sunday morning anyway, so it wouldn't hurt me to have a camera there.
Okay, well, there you go. You said you'll be doing it again? Are you going to be showing up again and doing this again in your underwear, making coffee?
I think so. I may be doing it. I kind of have plans to do it this week, so I don't want to be too overexposed, literally and figuratively. So we'll see what happens. But as it stands, I'm interested in continuing the series. Okay,
there you go. I look forward to the next episode. I'll be drinking coffee right along with you.
And then the other thing is that it seems to resonate with people, and they go, I'm going to try this. So I'm reaching out. I'm engaging people. That's the important thing.
You are, yeah. Like I said, you've inspired me, so I can't make coffee anymore unless I'm in my underwear.
Right.
But let's move on. Let's move on to recently saw you on an episode of Impact Xplosion, and you took on Moose, which was a great match. You cut a tremendous promo. I loved you going down to the lady and saying, you looked a lot better from up there, and you went back into the ring. Great stuff. How did that all come about, and why did we only see you once on Impact? You should have been on many more times, because I think you could be one of the top heels for Impact Wrestling.
Thank you. I was asked by the people who be, as they say, to be there and come do a fun thing, and I think that's what I did. My apologies to that poor woman and her boyfriend who continued to curse me out for the duration of the match. And then Yeah, if there's more in the future, I'm not quite sure. I'm obviously have many avenues available to me, and I like to cobble them together as best I can. But I think no matter what happens, I can guarantee you'll see the exact same amount of idiocy from me, no matter what platform it is.
Okay, like I said, I think you would be a top heel instantly, and I'm surprised it was Explosion and not their regular flagship Impact show. But yeah, I hope to see you again. I think you're a great match, and like I said, terrific promo. But let's go back to the beginning for RJ City in becoming a professional wrestler. What made you decide that, hey, you know what, I think I'm gonna, become a professional wrestler? And what was your inspiration in deciding making that decision?
I don't remember not wanting to do it.
Okay.
There was no turning point. I was just like, this looks fun. It seems to be wrestling and the Muppet Show were neck and neck, and apparently it's very, very hard to become a Muppet. So I thought it would be best I give wrestling a try.
Okay, man. Like if you could be a Muppet, like which Muppet do you think you would want to be?
I'm very drawn to Sam the American Eagle.
Okay.
I think it's fantastic. I also enjoy the act he always introduces named Wayne and Wanda, and they're like a Lawrence Welk type singing duo, and before they ever get the full song out, some sort of misfortune befalls them, and it's routinely hilarious to me. And that's probably who I would be. So either Wayne or Wanda. I'm not going to say which one.
Okay, that's fair enough, man. You're gonna have to forgive me if I start laughing, but you're freaking hilarious, man. I've known this for a long time, and I love your tweets and again with the coffee and I know I was gonna touch upon this a little later, but let's talk about it now. You have a little program called the Cynical Crafter, and there's one thing that you had was a Valentine's Day special, the Valentine's Day show, and one thing that made me laugh out loud, I almost fell to the floor, was the book. She left you because you did a handstand in front of a sunset. That was freaking hilarious.
Oh, those little they're like motivational posters in every episode. Motivational posters bother me personally. I used to see them in like classrooms a lot or offices. They'll have like lightning behind a mountain and it'll say perseverance, and I think they're very stupid. So I make all of those posters every episode, and I take a great joy in doing them, especially that one, because I would not date a guy who did a handstand in front of the sunset, and I hope no one would. I hope we raise our standards, and I hope we move beyond it.
Oh, so that was a poster. I think I said book, but it was an actual poster. A poster. I think I called it a book. I apologize for that.
It's fine.
And also, I went on your Pro Wrestling Tees. I was looking for the I Like Pizza and Slurpees and I Like You shirt, but I guess you don't have one that's available yet.
So all those shirts we get from a underground second-hand-ish store in Toronto, and they take old used donated clothing and print stupid designs on them, and I can't get enough of them. So the day before we film, because we'll do a couple episodes in a row, I make it a point to go and grab those shirts because they're just so weird and so wonderful.
Great shirt. You should put that shirt, make it available if you can on your Pro Wrestling Tees. I'd buy about 100 immediately. So I would wear that 100 days straight. That was that great shirt. Made me. You make me laugh a lot, which is great. Sometimes you need it, man. You're hilarious, and you cut a terrific promo as well. Some of your promos I've been watching on YouTube. You did one a few years back with Everybody Loves a Beard. I think you were taking on Matt Cross. But how do you come up with these awesome promos? I mean, I'm going to use the word brilliant. They're brilliant promos. Do you sit down? Do you write them, or they just come? Do you ad lib everything? Or how do you come up with these great promos?
First of all, I think it's important that they come from a genuine place of animosity. Okay. I think people can sense when you have an issue, like beards, for example. That's a good example. All of a sudden, that became a thing, and every wrestler was having a beard just to have a beard. And I'm a very critical, very judgmental person, and I think that is the springboard. I find one thing to latch onto, and then I I expand and expound from there. I have usually a vague idea of what I'm going to say, but I wouldn't say I script them unless there's specific insults I would like to get across.
Yeah, great. Also, another one I love is when the guy said you should become a baby face, and you started. I forget the name of the song.
They would be Georgie Girl.
Georgie Girl. That's right. Right. That was another great one. And the guy bumped into you at the end, and you put him to sleep. And that another great spot there. But great stuff, man. So
thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, man. So
let me ask. Wait. Let me ask you a question. Do I detect, and it may be in my ear, do I detect a Queens accent?
I am from Queens. I'm from Flushing, Queens. That's correct. I am from Flushing,
Wonderful.
Queens.
My grandmother is from Richmond Hill.
Okay.
In Jamaica, if
sure.
you're familiar with the
I am.
Not Jamaica. I feel like we have to qualify Jamaica Queens. Not. I don't want people thinking my grandmother is African. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying there's two Jamaicas and okay.
Sure.
Right. Anyway,
sure.
Go ahead. Go back.
No, yes, absolutely. You're from Toronto originally, right? Not, but yeah, you're from Toronto originally, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, definitely from Queens, New York. But one thing I miss down there is what we don't have up here, because I'm in Toronto right now as well. The pizza down there is so much better, and I kind of miss the pizza in Queens.
Oh, there's no comparison. Even in Toronto, which has a very high Italian population, you'd think they would be able to figure it out. But even when I was in Rome, I had pizza that was very, very good, but it was not like New York. I don't know what or why that is. Some people say it's the water. I've heard this thing, and that's why the bagels taste different too. I'm not sure. But there is ultimately no comparison at all.
No, not at all. That's why I'm going back down in the summer, so I'm looking forward to going to as many pizza places as I can down there when I get to New York.
Wonderful.
So yeah, and I'll if you want, I could bring you back some pizza as well. So.
That would be very sweet of you. My last time my brother went, my grandmother sent him back with some pizza, and she wrapped it in tinfoil and bubble wrap and a Ziploc bag. So it's totally possible.
All right, now that's the way I'll do it then. If I could get it over the border, I did get into past trouble trying to sneak over the border, but let's see if I can get the pizza over the border without getting in any trouble. So.
Yeah, I think you just declare a slice.
Yeah.
I don't know what the duty is on a slice of margarita, but I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, no, I'll definitely let you know what the duty is on that. So back to you becoming a pro wrestler. So you decided that you want to be a pro wrestler. So where did you train? Who actually trained you? Or which training school did you go to after you decided that you wanted to be a pro wrestler?
Little known fact: I was trained up in the Catskills Mountains by the wonderful comedian Jerry Lewis, and not many people know that he was a wrestler, but he did some dabbling in his spare time, some grappling, as they say. He was a hooker and a shooter, and he would, that's why he was such a dominant comedian, because Red Buttons or Marty Allen would take issue with him, and then he would shoot on them and put him in a hammerlock, and then they would say, "No, it's okay, you be the headliner this night." So it was a long trek up to the mountains, and of course I would wrestle during the day, and then I'd perform a show at night, a little sketch routine, and that's how I'm able to have both the wrestling expertise and the entertainment at the same time. I was born into it simultaneously.
Well, I had no idea that Jerry Lewis had a wrestling school. That's pretty impressive. I
wouldn't say it was a school. It was more like a Mr. Miyagi type.
Oh, okay.
It was like a pilgrimage tutorial. It was almost like a Buddhist thing.
Okay, so how long? I'm sorry, man. So how long after your training with Jerry Lewis did you decide that it's time for you to have your first match? And was your first opponent handpicked by Jerry Lewis for you?
Yes, certainly. He set me up with his people, and I started doing the circuit, as they say, around the Catskills and of course upstate New York, and then you would go down the coast there, maybe like a New Hampshire, like a nice Maine kind of thing, and then come back up. And I would wrestle opponents that he picked, and they usually knew what they were doing. And he showed me the ropes.
Yeah, you ever cross paths with Andy Kaufman? Because I know he was before he passed away. He was he had a little feud there with Jerry Lawler. He used to wrestle the women. Did Jerry Lewis actually train Andy Kaufman, or was that had nothing to do with Andy Kaufman?
I don't think that had anything to do with Jerry Lewis, unfortunately. I think Andy was somewhat self-taught. I think, actually, Jimmy Hart and Fred Blassie showed him the ropes. So
Okay.
I consider it a nice... the circle of life repeats itself. You know?
Okay.
As in many ways, Andy isn't here. Of course, he's not dead. He's still alive.
Yes.
But because he's not publicly around, I think it's leaves room to take up that mantle, and I certainly aim to do that.
Well, I'm glad you say that he's still alive, because I fully believe he's still alive as well. I don't think he's dead. He's gonna reappear one of these days, and
Any day now. It's not too late at all.
No, it's not. I'm a huge Andy Kaufman fan. I grew up. It's my comedy hero. I love the feud with Jerry Lawler. I'm a big. Also, I think what's going to happen is Tony Clifton's going to be in concert or something, and at the end it's going to be Andy Kaufman reveal. Everyone's going to think it's Bob Zmuda, but he's going to rip off the mask, and it's going to be Andy Kaufman. I think that's going to be his reemergence into the public world.
I think that would be fantastic. It's not too late. I'm sure his health is totally fine. I'm sure he's just waiting, and I'm sure he's going to be at his peak.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope he starts wrestling the women again. That was some great stuff as well.
Yeah.
So you lost recently a loser leave town match for Destiny. So are you finished with Destiny, or are you going to put Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say you're gonna put maybe a mask on and be like a Mr. America character or something. But are you done with Destiny, or?
Well, I think it would be a detriment to my face to put a mask on. But for the time being, I seem to be done there, unfortunately. And unless there's some sort of fakakta reinstatement clause thing, that's possible. It's very sad. Stone Rockwell beat me. Scott D'Amore counted the pin and kissed me on my head before he counted the 3. So he's upset. He's very distraught. And I'm sure the next show there'll be, perhaps a 10-bell salute or a moment of silence in my honor, and then we'll see what happens after that.
Yeah, so I saw the clip, and the fans were chanting NXT, NXT, but you mentioned that we'd sooner see you in Broadway before NXT. So do you have aspirations of making it to Broadway, or would you rather get to NXT first?
I think I would like to be the first professional wrestler to be in a production of Cats.
Okay.
I don't think that's out of my a lot of wrestlers have the same path to the top, and that's nice and all, and if they want that, good for them. But I don't, there's more ways to enjoy myself and to explore my career. Perhaps I could be the dentist from Little Shop of Horrors. It's another role that I'm crazy about.
Okay.
The Phantom of the Opera, of course. I feel I can play either Raoul or the Phantom.
Okay.
I think it makes me very versatile.
Okay.
And I'm a big fan of Annie Get Your Gun.
Okay.
I don't know what the statute of limitation is. I don't know if a man has ever played Annie Oakley before, but I think if anyone could do it quite possibly could be me.
Yeah, I think you could pull it off. Absolutely, I think you could pull off. You'd be a great Annie Oakley.
Thanks.
What about West Side Story? I think you'd be a great Riff.
I could be a great Riff. Yeah. I enjoy being Kaneki in Grease. That was excellent. And of course, I'm a big fan of South Pacific. I think I can do that too. So I mean, what am I going to do? Say, I want to be the top guy. I want to have these belts and travel all over the world in front of thousands of people, or do I want to sing "You Can't Get a Man with a Gun"? I mean, it's time someone explore the road less traveled and see what happens.
Absolutely, man. Like I said, if anyone could do it, you can, RJ. And I expect to see you in one of these lavish productions on Broadway really, really soon. Like I said, I think you'd be a great Riff, and if that comes up, I would audition for that immediately if I were you.
Yes.
Yeah. So I know you were on Splat a lot as well. It's funny, I want to talk to you about wrestling, but we're talking very, very little about wrestling, which is fine. But Splat a lot. My daughter was a big fan. I forgot there was Gildor was the name of the character that you played. Her?
Yes.
Yes. So she was a big. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no! Go ahead, continue.
No, I was gonna say she was a big fan when I showed her. I interviewed you some time back for another website, Kayfabe Today. When I showed your picture to her, she knew who you were right away, and she's a big fan. But do you think you'll maybe going back to Nickelodeon, or is Gildor completely, is that character gone?
There's been some rumors that the castle is undergoing renovations for a revival of the series. I have not heard any confirmation. As you know, castles are very difficult to construct, and I don't know if you've ever constructed a castle before, but if you have, I can assure you it's very difficult.
Okay.
And we'll see. A lot of people watched that show, and I think a lot of people enjoyed me hitting kids with balls and insulting them. I think that's a timeless formula that never gets old. So if everything is in the right place, I could do it again. I would have to... I would have to see it. It's an interesting question. I've become a lot more mature, and I have a lot more grievances about life and about children. So I think it would be a much more intense show. And I don't know how Nickelodeon feels about some guy who makes coffee in his underwear. So it would certainly be interesting to see.
Maybe. No, I was gonna say maybe Gildar could run around in his underwear and throw balls at people. But I don't know if that would work. But anyway, I'm jumping around here with questions here. Getting all out of order. So I was going to ask you about the Wild Stallions, because I know you had a team with Joey Valentyne. Maybe you want to tell me a little bit about the Wild Stallions and your early experiences as a pro wrestler?
Yeah, that was like my first foray into having a character, which I guess was very much not myself. I thought it'd be nice to play along and be a fun 80s fella, because that's what my partner was in real life. Okay. And unfortunately, Joey, one day he hit a very high leapfrog. You love to leapfrog, and he leaped so high that all of a sudden he disappeared. He vanished in thin air, and for months and months we couldn't find him at all. And then the next thing you know, I decided to go to. I'm in Ohio. Okay, I'm sitting in a diner in Ohio, and I'm watching. They have a TV there, and they're playing the AWA Classics on ESPN. They used to play. And, you know, I don't know who it was. It was Buddy Rose or something. And he was, and his opponent, Joey Valentyne. I went, oh, my God. So what happened is he leapfrogged. It was like a quantum leapfrog. And he ended up in the past. And he's doing very well in Minnesota. And we're all proud of him. And I don't get to see him anymore, and I miss him. But other than that, I have tremendous respect, and my heart goes out to him.
Oh, give me a second, man. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You are so freaking funny, man. Hold on, give me a second, man.
Thank you.
Holy crap, man! I think I haven't laughed this. I've never laughed this much during a podcast, but I appreciate it.
Are you telling me that wrestlers usually aren't very witty, creative, or humorous?
Witty, creative, yes, but humorous, not kind of humorous, but not RJ City humorous. I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're telling me that people who basically just yell for a living aren't as funny as you thought they would be? Shocking.
No, I guess you're right there, man. But I think I kind of knew what I was expecting when I was going into this interview. I knew I was going to be laughing at some point, but I'm laughing a lot. But are you familiar with Kobe Christ, by the way, wrestler Kobe Christ?
I have heard of him. I don't believe I have met him. What am I missing? Tell me what. No,
because I completely forgot. We talked about the coffee and the underwear, but he's kind of a friend of mine. I told him I was interviewing you today, and he's a fan. He wrestles out in the Atlantic Canada area, and he said he doesn't drink coffee, but he would hopefully one day we'll get an invitation to join you to make coffee in his underwear with you. So that he wanted me to pass that on to you.
Oh, that's very, very sweet. And I hope, yes, the guest list is slowly filling up, and who knows who will show up in my kitchen.
Okay. I meant to bring that up earlier when we were talking about the coffee, but I'm looking at my notes. I just jumped right over it. Sorry about that. I'm trying to look for questions here. So what's your main goal in professional wrestling? What's the main goal? I know people are chanting NXT. Do you have any aspirations of getting NXT, or what's the main goal for RJ City in the world of professional wrestling?
I can't particularly say exactly where I want to go or what I want to do. I think I have a creative bug up my ass to deconstruct the industry itself and to push it forward and to see how I can explore different ways to be entertaining, different ways to do things. So whatever platform would be happy to have me, I would be interested to hear their offers.
Okay.
If not, maybe I'll just create my own, like I'm making coffee in my underwear. So I think my goal is to not have a goal and to just do as much good shit as possible and see where that leads.
All right, man. Well, hopefully, like I said, I loved you in Impact, and I hope they give you a call. I hope we see you again in Impact Wrestling. You were fantastic.
Well, they were fine people. I my hat's off to them for giving me a mic and not a script. That is a very ambitious, welcoming move on their part, and we'll see. I think I have much more left to say.
Absolutely. So hopefully, Scott D'Amore, if you're listening, sign RJ City immediately. So anyway, I know you wrestled for many promotions. Do you have a favorite promotion that you've wrestled for?
Oh my. Well, certainly, not Destiny, since I was expelled from the entire promotion.
Sure.
I'll have to scratch that off the list because that hurts me emotionally. I love ESW in Buffalo. I think they're fantastic. Greektown Wrestling is fun. In Greektown, there's Greek people who come out, and they're very vociferous. And I enjoy my forays into Border City in Windsor have been interesting as well. And again, anywhere who hands me a mic and not a script, I will make that place my own, for better or for worse, for the other people involved.
All right, fair enough. So do you have any favorite opponents? I think when I spoke to you last for Kayfabe today, you mentioned, I believe, Cody Deaner. I'm not sure. But I'll ask you again if you have any favorite opponents that you've gone up against.
Yeah, Cody is so interesting because we're fantastic opponents, and then we're also wonderful partners, like a married couple that yell at each other and love it. Very interesting. I enjoyed... who else? Kevin Bennett from ESW, and Braxton Sutter is a fine fella, and there's a bunch of people like that. I certainly enjoy. I really enjoy. I had like about 2 or 3 matches with Space Monkey. I don't know if you're familiar with the.
Oh, of course.
And this is a fine mix. He's just dumb enough for me. So it's a wonderful marriage.
What about dream opponents? Do you have anyone that you would like that you haven't wrestled yet that you would like to wrestle?
That is an interesting question. Well, of course. I mean, the top of my list would be Sammy Davis Jr., but that's not going to happen. That's number one. Do I have any dream opponents? I'll say Dalton Castle. Although we've wrestled before, I think we can do it again and continue to be weird and fun and weird together.
Okay.
I think that would be fantastic. My other dream opponent would be... Sorry, I'm just picking dead people. I hope this is okay.
No, that's fine. That's fine, man. Anybody.
Big Nick Bockwinkel fan.
Okay, absolutely.
I think he's great. I think he's fantastic. And, I enjoy those people. So Sammy Davis... and Frank Gorshin. And Cesar Romero. Anyone who is a villain on Batman, I'm very, very interested in getting in the ring with.
Gorshin would have to wear his Riddler outfit, though, right?
Of course. Yeah. And I think it was truly a one piece. I don't think there was any separation there at all.
It's one piece. You're right. Absolutely one piece. No separation at all. So that would be an interesting match. And
of course, Cesar Romero.
Yeah.
I would be remiss if I did not mention Cesar. And it takes such balls and gravitas to say, no, I'm not shaving my mustache, put the makeup on over it. And to think, years later, Heath Ledger and Jared Leto, and they're like, oh, I'm gonna get an Oscar for this performance. And Caesar's like, listen, I am not shaving for this at all. This is so ridiculous. I don't care how thick it is, just put the white makeup over my face. But that's like now his signature look. So many questions. People say, "Oh, how did the Joker get such a big mouth? He has all, how did he get that big smile covered into his face?" And the real question is, why did he, believe so heavily in his mustache that he would not shave it under any circumstances?
Absolutely, man. Oh man. Last question, man, and then we'll wrap this up. And I know you're a Merv Griffin fan. You bring him up a lot, so I wasn't going to ask, but I'm going to ask if you were face to face with Merv Griffin, what how would that conversation go if you had a conversation with Merv Griffin?
I really want to ask him about this brings this entire conversation and my life full circle. He once had Andre the Giant and Jerry Lewis on the show. And I'm not joking. I can send you the picture. It's totally true.
No, I believe you.
It's hilarious. It's fantastic. Merv seemed to just enjoy everyone. He seemed to be very interested in people and talking about the lining of their jackets and who their tailors were and, wonderful bullshit Hollywood, things like that. And then it's like, hey, he wrote the theme song to Jeopardy, wrote the theme song to, I believe, Wheel of Fortune and a bunch of other ones. And, of course, Merv Griffin Productions has, almost every great game show ever. And I want to know what you do with that much money. I want to know what the relaxation is for him because he never seems stressed out. He never seemed out of place. Was he exceptionally talented? No. And that is his wonderful joy. And that's like a true American story, that you can not be very good, but you can be a tremendous success. And that's a role model that I would like to, certainly have in my life.
All right, man. I'm sorry. I said this was the last question, but just one more question, if you don't mind. Anyone that's looking to become a professional wrestler and they go to you for advice, what advice would you give, say, an 18-year-old who says, "I want to be a professional wrestler"?
Go see a psychiatrist. Find out why you're asking those questions. And, maybe is there anything he can give you? Is there any sort of therapy that can be done to get to the bottom of it? Now, if I can be serious, I also think it's important to figure out why you want to be a wrestler. Because some people don't realize it until they're in the middle of it. They understand what because wrestling is so many things. It's entertainment, it's sports, and there's some fame involved. There's some creativity involved, and you got to figure out what it is about it that makes you want to do this, and also what you bring to the table. Why would I pay to see you? I think that's an important thing. What do you bring? There's a lot of wrestlers out there. I think we've probably seen every wrestling move we're ever going to see. I think it's been done already. So what makes you unique that I need to pay for you? It's an interesting question. It's certainly something I ask myself every time I go out in front of an audience. So, yeah, but certainly therapy first.
Okay, fair enough, man. All right, well, I just want to say, RJ, it's been a terrific half an hour spending time with you. This is one of the best interviews I've ever done. You made me laugh. I don't know if you hear me laughing in the background, but I've been laughing basically through the entire interview, and I thank you for that. You're tremendously talented, big fan, and you're going to be in a major promotion. You're going to be on Broadway. Whatever you want to do, you're going to be able to do because you're so talented. So again, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it.
That's sweet of you. Thank you for having me, and I'm sure I will speak to you in one way or another soon.
Absolutely, man. Anytime you want to come back and talk about Merv Griffin, B. Arthur, Andy Kaufman, just let me know. I'd love to have you back.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you. Well, this has been the Pro Wrestling Personified podcast. Again, I want to thank my host, RJ City. Until next time, take care, bye-bye, and stay safe, everybody. Take care, bye-bye.